students, welcome to Bosco Campus Vision YouTube channel of Kottayam Don Bosco College. I am Rania, faculty member of PG Department of English. This time I am here with the paper Communicative Applications in English, which is an open course offered by English Department for 5th semester UG students under Kerala University. In this video lecture, we are discussing two language skills, reading and writing. So as we all know, among the four skills of language, reading and writing have added significance. So first of all, let's consider reading skill. What is reading? So it is a process in which we are actually trying to decode the symbols that is written in a particular text. That means it is one of the four major language skills as I mentioned, and it is classified under the receptive skill. So already I had mentioned what is a receptive skill and what is productive skill. So reading is a receptive skill. It plays a vital role, particularly in second or foreign language teaching learning process. So as for Indians, that means we are our Indians. So for us, English is our second language. So this skill play a vital role in our teaching learning process. Though it is a passive activity, the active involvement and enthusiasm of the reader will pave the way for enriching his or her knowledge and experience. So if we consider it as an activity, though it is a passive activity, the active involvement and enthusiasm from the reader is very much needed for that process. This process familiarizes with the various styles of writing. So we can say that it is a process by which we try to comprehend the written or printed word by interpreting the symbols that are used. It is a process by which we try to comprehend the text. So what is written in a particular text, we are trying to comprehend that. So that is the process of reading. And this process varies according to one's purpose and need and proposition and domain. So on the basis of the need or proposition or domain, we can classify reading into several types. So there is no single, unique, comprehensive definition of reading. So what we here said are all the explanation for reading, but we can't define what is reading. Then now let's consider reading as a process of how that process happen. So when we read something, we understand it through three levels. So actually I had already mentioned that reading is a process when we are going through certain symbols and we are understanding that symbols, and so that we comprehend it. Okay, so what are the three levels? The first one is reaction to the written symbols or words at the surface level of understanding. So what we first going through is we are going through the symbols that represent certain words or letters. So reaction to the written symbols or words. So that is the first level of reading. Second one is conceiving the author's meaning. So what the writer is trying to say through this text. So we are trying to conceive that. So second level is conceiving the author's meaning. Third level is personal experiences and judgment of the reader influence the text. So in that process, ultimately, definitely when we read that text, our personal experiences and judgment definitely affect that text. So these are the three levels of reading process. In short, we can say that reading is a psychological process of decoding or deciphering. So what the reader is trying to do, he is trying to decode the written symbols. So it is a process, the writer writing the message on a sheet of paper or something, and the reader trying to read that. That means here the writer is the encoder. So he is encoding the text that is in the form of a message or text. So encoder trying to encode the text, and when the reader start reading, he decode it. So this is the process of reading. Now let's consider different types of reading. So as we already mentioned, on the basis of need or purpose, there are different types of reading is available. Here we are discussing mainly 4 major types of reading. The first one is skimming. Skimming, it is a skill of quickly reading through the text to understand what it is. So skimming is a type of reading, and in this skill we are using this skill in order to read something quickly to understand what it is. So it is used to quickly identify the main ideas in a text. Actually, this type of reading is 3 to 4 times faster than normal reading. And this technique works to find dates, names, places, etc. For example, when you start reading newspaper, you are actually reading in such a manner that you are skimming. That means you are just going through the main news items in that newspapers. Okay, so likewise when you go through magazines or travel brochures, or in all these different instances, we are actually doing skimming. The type of reading is scanning. Scanning is a technique we use to look through a text quickly to find specific information. And it is a very rapid search for an important point. For example, this technique we use when you look up a word in the dictionary or a number in the telephone directory. So this technique of scanning is a very rapid search. Usually when we are trying to find out a page number or a title or a keyword, you are using this technique. So when scanning, look for the author's use of organizers such as numbers, letters, steps or words like firstly or secondly. So look for words that are in bold, italics or in different font size or color. So scanning is actually a technique we are adopting when you look up a word in the dictionary or a number in the telephone directory. So we are particularly search that thing only. So that is scanning. It is another type of reading. Then third one is extensive reading. Extensive reading is nothing but reading longer texts, usually for one's own pleasure. So it is pleasure reading, extensive reading extensively, and this is a fluent activity mainly involving global understanding. For example, when you read a novel for pleasure, we are actually adopting the reading technique of extensive reading. So it is, we can say that it is pleasure reading. It is for enriching our pleasure. It is for finding our pleasure. And another type is intensive reading. In reading intensively. So it involves reading shorter text to extract specific information. This kind of reading is otherwise known as reading for details. So intensive reading we are adopting for writing examination. So it is in intensive. We are actually by hearting the main facts in that particular text. So that is intensive reading. So my dear students, we had covered 4 different types of reading: scanning, skimming, intensive reading and extensive reading. These 4 are very important, and these questions, it is a previous question also, so beware, this is an important portion. Now let's move on to the next step, that is sub skills of reading. So what are the sub skills of reading? As I mentioned, reading helps you to enable grammatical structures, spelling rules, vocabulary and also comprehensive power. So what are sub skills of reading? The first one is phonemic awareness. So when you start reading something, you get a thorough knowledge of the phonemes. It will contribute the speed of reading. So I hope you know what is phoneme. It is the smallest basic unit of a sound. So when you read something, you get a thorough knowledge of the phonemes, which will contribute the speed of reading. Second one is phonics. See, what is the difference between phoneme and phonics? Phonics is actually deals with the correspondence between letter and sound. So, it is the relationship that helps the reader to understand how letters are related to sound. For example, when you write a letter on the blackboard P. So, when you write a letter on the blackboard P, the sound which represent the letter is P. So, phonics is the relationship between sound and the symbol that represent. Next one is fluency. Fluency is the ability to read uninterruptedly. It acts as a connecting link between the decoding of meaning and comprehension of text. So in our class, when teacher says to read something, some students try to read very fluently. So we often see that some students read fluently. So actually what that is fluency, it is the ability to read uninterruptedly, and this acts as a connection link between decoding of meaning and comprehension of text. Next one is vocabulary. What do you mean by vocabulary? Yes, word power. So through reading, we can enrich our vocabulary. Then the last one is comprehension. Comprehension is actually a highly complex process. So in that process, the reader interacts with the text to understand the meaning of words, sentences or paragraphs. So through reading, we are unknowingly comprehending the passage. So this is the different point. These are the different points related to reading skills. Okay, dear students, I hope you understood various points discussed as part of reading skill. Let's discuss the writing skill in our next class. Please do the homework and send me through WhatsApp. Thank you. Have a nice day.